So I'm going to take a chunk of EN9, it's round, it's 22mm round, it is 180mm long, or 7 inches. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put a striking end on. So I'm going to hold it up off the anvil, I'm going to come down here and forge a short square taper. So now we carry on with forging a square taper. You don't want to take the end too small. So what we now do, we've got the 4 sides, and we put it on a corner and knock that corner in. Go to the opposite corner, knock that corner in. Go to the other corners, knock that corner in, opposite, knock that corner in, and then keep going until you've got 8 equal sides. And then run down your original 4 sides. See where this is going now? So now you just tidy that up. So I'll take another heat, not a high heat, but I'll take another heat and then I'll tidy this up. So we're going to give it a little scrub with a wire brush. Then tidy the 8 sides up. Don't go too mad. So we've now got fish lipping in the end. Where it goes in, it's like a concave, like a hole in the end basically. You can see that. So what we do is we'll file that out in a minute. I'll take another heat and then we'll get the file on it. Give her a wire brush after you've filed it. Crisp up the edges again. So this is what we're looking for. Nice dome top, crispy edges, 8-sided. So that's your striking end. We will flatten it so they don't have to be perfect. So take a nice heat, let it soak in the fire so you get it to the core. And what you want to do is flatten it out. Work the other side as well. If your end goes off a little bit, put it out, leave a gap underneath it and knock it over. So I'm going to take it to about 1/2 inch, 12mm, 13mm, about that thickness. So take another heat again, nice big heat, let it soak, and work the other end. Keep it straight, turn it over and work the other side. Straighten her up. So that's 2 heats. That's taken me to flatten this to about 1/2 inch, 12mm or 13mm thick. Nice rounded edges so it's comfortable on the grip. And then the next step is tidy her up, give her a little bit of a planish, and then we'll put the cutting edge on them. So it's quite a simple thing. Just keep it hot and work it hard. So 2 heats, that's all that's taken. So we're going to wire brush it and then we're going to planish the sides. If you wait from one side, turn it over. Planish the other side. Turn around because you still got the heat in the bar. Planish it, give it a wire brush again. straighten her up if it needs it. Put your striking end in the centre again. And that's good to go. So I'll show you now a little close up of this. So this is your striking end. We got a nice oval section. It's about 12, 13, half-inch thick. And it's flat all the way. Same section, same thickness. And on the end we have slightly oval. It's still kept the section. Obviously if you're working in rectangle bar or square bar you don't have to do the flattening, but this makes it nice and comfortable. So this next step we're going to put a short sharp taper on here. So again I'm lifting up the bar as you do with a taper, putting my hammer at an angle. So it starts to flare out into a fishtail. And then as you get in this to the edge, bring your hammer back slightly. And work that out. So you see where we're going with this? Now the heat's gone, we're going to warm it up again, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to work these edges and work the end. I'll show you from a different angle. So the first thing you want to do is tidy your edge up. So you come in here, you tidy that up. Next, come in this side at an angle, hammers at an angle, that's flat, hammers at an angle, you're coming in, hitting either side, so it's all central. Damn, that's bright. Work the taper as you did before. So now what we got to do is do the back of this taper. Now we're spreading out quite equally. Come back in, do the same. Be careful of your edge under here. You don't want it being set down. So you want to leave the cutting edge about 4 mil thick, 3 to 4 mil thick. And then once you're happy with it, blend that taper in. And then the next heat, we'll come in, we'll tidy this, we'll tidy the edge, and then we'll blend the taper into that again. And then it's ready for a little bit of foil work and then heat treatment. So we're going to come in and tidy this edge. So put it over the edge of the anvil with your hammer. want it nice and rounded. And just blend that in. So you've got a nice fishtail on there. Can come in and do the edge again. Or if one edge needs going out, then just work from this. Say this edge needs going out, work from this edge and then pull it that way. And it will spread it out equally then. So she's ready for straightening. And all your little touch-ups now before we go and file an edge on it and then heat treat it. So you want to leave the edge probably more than 1 millimetre thick, probably 2 mil thick. This isn't your final grinding. Your final grinding is after you've heat treated it, and then you can get it proper smooth. So all I've done is just done a rough one, because if it's too thin on the end, then your heat will get sucked out when you heat treat it. So what I'm going to do now is clean it up with a wire brush, and then heat treat it from now. So this is a chisel after it's been wire brushed. I'm going to let it cool down and wait to heat treat it. So you've got the striking end, main body, then your cutting edge. Then you have the striking end, which is, it's got a slight dome to it, which is a lot easier to dress when it starts mushrooming. It's got quite a small point of contact, so that it would take any angle. With a domed head, a domed striking end, it can be hit from any angle and it will still work as intended. So this is a full chisel, ready to be heat treated. I've let it cool down, I've normalised it, which is basically heating it up to about an orange, letting it cool down slowly, and I've done that 3 times. Not really slowly, literally let the heat go out of it, heat it up again, let the heat go out of it, heat it up again, let the heat go out of it. So now I'm going to put it into the forge and I'm going to show you how I heat treat EN9 steel. So what I've done is I've turned my gas forge down to the lowest setting it would go and the lowest temperature that it will go. And what I'm going to do is place my chisel cutting edge in first, and I'm only going to put it in enough just to get the end hot. Probably want, I don't know, about 3 inches hot, and that's about it. So it'll balance there. I'm just going to let it sit there for a good 10-15 minutes at a low heat, and then I'll take it out and then I'll quench it in water. The reason I'm quenching EN9 in water is it is a water quenchant steel. It's not an oil quenchant. You can quench it in oil, but because it's quite a sturdy steel and it's quite relatively easy, it's a good beginner's steel, I'm going to quench it in water, and I'll show you the full process of how I do it hopefully the colours come out correct, which I'm going to have a little play around with now. But this is the most important bit, is getting this soaked and then getting the right colours for heat treatment. So what I'm going to do is let it cool down until I know that it's the right temperature, and then I'm going to come in, I'm going to dip it, and I'm going to go figure of 8. But what I'm also going to do is go up and down slightly, so you're not just going in holding it. That's about there. So I'm changing that line of quench. Then I'm going to get a sanding pad, take it back to the bare metal so that I can see the colour run. I'm looking for about a straw colour, so you can see the temperature, the temper colours coming from here. Out of the heat, that's already in the bar, and as soon as that hits the cutting edge, I'll put it in the water again and repeat until the temper colours stop running. So we're about there. So do the same. I'll do exactly the same thing again. I'll show you what I mean with the temper colours in a minute. So 2 quenches I think has done it. I'm going to still wait though. So the temper colours have stopped running now. And so what I'm going to do, it's still hot. Going to cool the piece completely. But obviously go in like that rather than just dropping it in. Then go cool to the touch. You can see the temper colours in the steel. I've obviously cleaned this end off, just so I could see that last run, which never happened. And that's pretty much it. And the way to test this is to get a file. If it's hardened, it skate off. And it won't dig in like that is. That's not digging in, by the way, that's skating off. So it's hardened enough. So what I'll do now is after I've heat treated it, because we've got like a 1mm thick cutting edge already, what we now got to do is file it down or rasp it down or get your grinders out and your sanding pads or whatever. But I like to use a file, use a decent file, not a blunt file, because obviously it's going to skate off at first. You just got to bite through that top layer and then it start cutting. So what I'll do is I'll go to the middle and then go to the middle the other side, and then I'll try and blend this edge back into this. You'll see why in a minute. So that's one side done. Turn it around. and do the other side, and I'll show you that after I've done it. So this is a finished cutting edge. I've blended it in, so there's no real defined edge. It's a gradual taper all the way to the end. And what this is for is when you're cutting hot steel, if you've got a slight little ledge or a slight little angle on it, what that'll do is cause friction. So this completely eliminates friction, and you can cut quicker, you cut deeper, you cut faster. So the best way to test your new chisel, if it'll hold an edge, if it needs reheating, needs retreating, then get yourself a bit of mild steel, nice bit of cold mild steel, and do what I'm going to do now. So this is a good test, guys, to test your cutting edge and your heat treatment. This is a hot cut chisel, it's not a cold cut chisel, so I've got a cold bit of mild steel. Basically I'm going to see if this will cut, not all the way through. So it cuts. So why did I do that? Basically I want to see if this edge will roll. If it'll roll, that means the heat treatment is not correct. If it burrs, the heat treatment's not correct. So I'm going to check it over. I'm just going to run my fingers over it like this, and the cutting edge is fine. Cutting edge is still sharp, there's no burrs, and that was cold metal. So what it would do to hot metal is it cut through it like butter. And that's it, guys. That's a hot cut chisel.